morning and welcome to Shift today. Thank you for coming. Introducing our guest, Estelle Atkinson, a senior at Orono and a longstanding member of Trinity. I think you and your family have been here about 14 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, good. So you have really grown up in this community, and your story of horses and just growing up are intertwined with us. And we're so glad to have you here, Estelle. So I want to start out with we've got some pictures. We're going to start out with your family. There you are. So you have been around horses a long time.
Yeah, I've been riding horses my whole life. Both my parents grew up with horses. The horse pictured in the screen up there, my parents bought as a 1-year-old in, I think, 1999, and she was my first real horse, and she taught me how much I love horses and just how amazing they can be. Yeah.
What did she teach you about horses? Do you remember?
She taught me how patient they can be and how gentle and how they love every creature, whether it's one of our cats or whether it was my little sister Adeline. She just was so gentle and patient, and yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really a great thing to do, and great thing to learn is to love all creatures. So how did you learn to ride?
I learned to ride from my parents. My mom, I have a very vivid memory of her teaching me how to elope Cassie, which elope is a 3-beat gait, like a canter, if you guys didn't know. Yeah, I just remember her teaching me, and I remember me being so excited when I first got it. The picture on the screen now is me grazing Cassie, the big brown horse, and my sister grazing Oreo, the little black and white pony. Oreo, I got her, I think, when I was 4 and she was 3, so she was another little pony that I really just grew with and I loved.
I kind of remember you talking about Oreo. And the reason that we're talking to Estelle is, besides her love of horses, she goes to, countless horse shows and places and wins. And so she is really good at what she does nationally, which is kind of amazing. Now, who is this?
That is one of our horses, Boots. I think we got her in 2015. She was one of the first horses that we actually bought and didn't raise, and I was lucky enough to be able to show her at our local state show at the state fairgrounds, and she was just an amazing animal.
Really? What made her so amazing?
She knew her job, and she was always so honest in the show pen, and she was just overall a very amazing horse.
What do you mean by honest when you talk about horses?
Some horses, when you go in the show pen, horses are so smart, so they know you're showing, and sometimes they're like, oh, that means I can get away with something. But she was never like that. As soon as she went in, she knew her job, she loved her job, she always listened, and she never wanted to try to take anything from you.
Right, and start just going off on her own, kind of. Yeah. So some horses are dishonest?
Yeah. So, some horses you go in and they're like, oh, we're showing, so that means I can just be a little lazy, not listen as well. And yeah, it's really hard to get through that if you do have a horse like that. It takes a lot of classes, schooling. So schooling would be basically training in your class where you would get disqualified, but for the horses who aren't as honest, it's necessary.
And do you primarily do quarter horses?
Yeah, I've always been in the quarter horse circuit. I've shown paint horses here and there, but so some of our horses are double registered, so we can show them in both the AQHA and the APHA. And for those of you who don't know, AQHA stands for American Quarter Horse Association.
Okay. And this is a colt.
Yes. So another thing we do on our farm is we breed. This, I think his name was Kobe. Yeah, this is Kobe. He was born in 2016, and he was the most friendly foal you would ever meet. He loved to just come say hi to you. As you can see, he'd lay down on your lap. He was a great horse.
So you're talking about your farm, and is your farm nearby?
Yeah, it's, I think 12 minutes from here off of 6.
All right. And you have a number of horses there?
Yeah, we have 8 horses currently on our farm, ranging from retired show horses to brood mares to babies, and then we have 1 horse in Iowa, which that's my personal horse. His name is Steve. He's the one you see pictured on like the main page on the main shift. And then we have 1 in Texas, and his name is Socks, and he's actually one we raised too. So they're both at trainers, but they're just Iowa and Texas.
And Iowa is a spot. Did you grow up there, Laura? Mom grew up there, and Dax as well. So, and where is the place in Iowa that she trains?
My trainer, she actually grew up with my mom. She trains out of Woodward, which is around like Des Moines, between Des Moines and Ames. Like Des Moines.
So
City, yeah.
that's a hike.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours, so
Yeah.
it's a full day trip if I want to go ride them.
Yep. Wow. So what picture is this?
This is a picture of me riding Lacey, which is one of the horses we raised. She's actually one of Cassie's babies, and this was our first Hunt Under Saddle class. Hunt Under Saddle has an English style, so as you can see, it has the smaller, more compact saddle, and it's basically judging how well your horse moves and how well suited it would be if it were to be a jumper or go on trail rides and fox hunts and stuff.
Ooh, fox hunts. It sounds so regal. All right, this is we start to see a little bit of your show wear, and of course you got to have a good hat, and you've got the boots on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is with your little sister.
Yeah. So that again is Lacey, and that was at a show in Wisconsin. That picture was taken after I showed in Western Pleasure, and my sister I think also showed Cassie in the same class or in Western Pleasure, but a different class. And I love getting pictures with her, and it's just, I love showing with my sister. It's very fun.
Oh, that's so great, because your horses are really your family.
Yeah, for sure.
Now is this Iowa?
This is Oklahoma. No, where is that? Tulsa, sorry.
Oh, it's in Tulsa.
Tulsa. This is at the NSBA World Show, and that horse pictured is Romeo. He's very special. He was 12 when we got him, and he was the horse who really took me to the next level and showed me how to really ride and compete and what the whole circuit looks like at that level.
So we have some younger guests today who are probably interested in horses or ride. What do you think about them doing that? They have some years to go on them.
Yeah, I would just say have fun with it. Take every opportunity you get. Yeah, have fun with it. Take every opportunity you can get, and just learn as much as you can while you're that age. It's such a fun time, and horses are so amazing. So, yeah.
So do you, if you're on the farm, oops, I have this kind of an important picture to talk about. So what is going on in this picture?
Yeah, so that is a 2-year-old quarter horse. I was lucky enough to train for a summer, and he was the most trusting, quiet horse ever. I could not scare him. He was the definition of bomb-proof. So I was going down to train him that morning, and an inner tube had blown down from our pool area to by his pasture, and I was like, maybe he'll be a little scared of this. Maybe I can use this as a training moment. So I took the inner tube and I rubbed it all over his body. He didn't blink. He was just like, oh, hi. And I was like, I can't. So I ended up putting it around his neck, and he just did not care. So later that day, a girl came out named Melissa Bows. She is one of our longtime family friends, and she was taking pictures of him because he was a project horse, so unfortunately we had to sell him. But to get this fun picture, I laid the tarp over his back, and I put the inner tube around his neck, and he didn't blink, and I was like, okay, let's just try this. So I got on him. He was just having the best time. I ended up walking him around like that, and he just loved every second.
He looks very tall to me. Are these horses tall?
American quarter horses have a big height range. So the shortest one I've rode was probably 14.2 hands, which a hand is 4 inches. So it's pretty short. I don't know. You'd have to do the math exactly how tall it is. But the tallest horse I rode was Romeo. He, again, is American quarter horse, and he was 17.2 hands. So that's 5'10" feet. So yeah, it's a very big range.
Yeah, that is a very big range. So when you do your training, and I suppose it's changed over the years, how often do you train?
It really depends on the horse and how old they are and what they're doing, but I try to ride every day, whether it's for me or for the horse. Course, since he was younger, I didn't ride him every day. I'd ride him for maybe a week and then give him a week off and then ride a few days here and there. But my horse at home right now that I ride, his name's Rocky, and I try to ride him every day. He's a 12-year-old gelding.
How long do you ride?
It depends on the ride and what you're working on. Like, if they're being really good and they're having an awesome day, it can be as short as 15 minutes. And if you're really trying to work through something, it could be as long as an hour.
Okay. So what kind, there are different activities in the events.
Yes, there's different disciplines.
Okay. What do you specialize in?
So we specialize in more performance-based events, which judges how well the horse moves and how connected they are. So basically how well they behave and how well they listen. And you want to make it look as easy as possible, even though it's not. So one event I do in specific is called horsemanship, where you have a Western saddle and you go through a pattern that the judge gives you, and each maneuver is judged like a gymnastics routine with plus or minus for each maneuver, and your score at the end determines how well you place. And yeah, so that's judged on you and the horse for that class.
What kind of concentration does this take?
It has a lot of concentration. There are a lot of moving parts between reading and reacting to your horse, to keeping your body positioned in the right way, and looking up, smiling, looking confident even if you are not. And there's a lot of moving parts, so it has a lot of concentration.
What is the scaredest you've ever been?
Oh, I'd have to think about that for a second. Typically, horses I work with don't scare me just because I've worked with them so much. I can generally read and react. Even if one's acting up or I feel like I'm going to get bucked off, I'm not necessarily scared. Maybe the scariest I've ever been is just working with horses that I'm not used to or feel unpredictable, because then I just feel like I can't read what they're about to do and I can't see what's going to happen. So that just makes me nervous.
Right. So, I mean, you get to know your horses really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you do jumping, too.
Yeah, so that is Lacey. She loved jumping, but she definitely was not bred for it, so it's kind of a miracle she could jump at all. That was a few years ago. I taught her how to jump and was just having so much fun with it around our farm.
And you have the farm, and I think you also do the chores.
Yeah, on weekends I help with chores when I can.
Yep. And so what are the chores and when do you do them?
So we feed the horses twice a day, and we clean the stalls once or twice a day. So in the morning we grain, hay, water, move the horses around, whether they're going outside or coming inside for the day. And then around noon you'd go down, maybe clean their stall, fill their waters again, move them around again, and then in the night you do the same thing. You water, grain, feed, bring them in for the night. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Do horses sleep standing up or laying?
They can sleep standing up. Their joints lock in a specific way that allows them to do that. It kind of depends on the horse and their personality and how tired they are, because if they've been standing forever and they've had a really big day, they'll lay down for a while. But typically, our horses sleep standing.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. I had heard that and I was like, do they really? How long do they sleep?
It also depends. Through the night usually, but I always see them sleeping, like standing outside in the pasture in the sun, or here and there. Yeah.
So, do you feed them treats?
Yes, they love their treats. They love everything from bananas to apples to carrots to fruit snacks to Tostitos chips. Yeah, Steve in particular likes the Tostitos chips.
And I suppose there's a little bit of a balance between getting them to do something and getting them to do something for a treat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Horses learn a lot off of pressure and release. So typically when you're riding, you'll add buttons and maneuvers like that. So when I say you add a button, that's like a specific cue. So like a specific cue with your leg will mean a certain thing. So that's like now a button. So when you're riding, you always do pressure and release, but when I do like liberty training or like my pony Oreo, I taught her to lay down and I taught her to sit and stuff, and she is so food motivated that I taught her with treats.
So Oreo is the pony.
Yeah.
And Oreo, just a pony stays a pony?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's very small.
Yeah. We had a Shetland pony when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah. Aww. Smokey. How does your faith fit into your horses?
The biggest thing I have learned from horses that contributes to my faith is how to wait on God's timing, because each horse learns at its different pace, so you just really have to be patient and wait and know it will come at the correct time. And especially when it comes to showing horses, you just have to know that God has a plan for what He's going to do and what He's going to show you and what He's going to teach you, and you just have to wait on it and take every opportunity you can. And yeah, He'll bring horses in and out of your life, and you just have to know that what He has planned for you is greater than what you could think.
That's pretty insightful. I mean, she's 17, so that's amazing. And you're also an athlete, you run. Mm-hmm. How do you balance everything?
It can be hard to balance sometimes. I just have to know like when to take a break from what. So it's awesome with these nice days because when I come home from track, it's still light out and it's still warm, so I'll go out and ride my horse. But some days if I have a lot of homework and track practice or a track meet, then I just won't have time to ride, which always is so sad, but that's how it works out sometimes.
But it's the way it works.
Yeah.
So this is National Horse Congress?
Yes.
And what happened there?
So at Congress, I was lucky enough to ride this horse named Benz. He is one of my trainer's other clients' horses that I got a lease because we had just sold Romeo. This was an example of waiting on God's timing because we did not expect to sell Romeo that early, and I didn't have a horse to ride at Congress. But one day my trainer's like, oh, she could ride Benz. And it just worked out so amazing. We both trusted each other so much, which allowed us to do this well with it being our first show together. I won the horsemanship, which I explained was the Western saddle with the pattern, and I won the showmanship, which is leading your horse through a pattern. Not my favorite class, but it's his favorite class, so it worked out. And then I ended up getting 2 High Point All-Around Youth Awards. So that's where I got the saddle, and it was just overall like an amazing opportunity and an amazing thing.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And this is a little bit, I mean, you have outfits that are part of the showing.
Yes.
Tell us about your outfit.
My outfit we got about when we got Romeo, and this was my horsemanship outfit. And typically you like the sparkly stuff because it really like catches the judge's attention, makes them remember you, helps people recognize you from show to show. And this was one of my favorite shirts that I had, and it just went so well with Romeo, and it fit us so well, and yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, so she has plans after she graduates. Tell us about your plans.
So this fall, I'm going to be attending TCU, where I'll ride on their equestrian team, and it's like a real college sport, so it's awesome. It's like basketball, but for horses. Like, no one knows about it. So I will be riding the Western discipline there, and so for college teams, there's 4 disciplines. There's 2 jumping and 2 Western. I'm showing the horsemanship side of the Western. So how it works is there's horses that get donated to the schools, and when you compete against another school, you'll go there, they'll come to your school, and you get paired up with one horse and a girl from the other team, and you both ride that one horse the same pattern, and whoever gets the better score gets a point for the team.
Wow. So it's Texas Christian University, and that is located in?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas. So you are going to be in some horse country.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Are you going to change your accent?
We'll see.
We'll see. You got a little bit of that. Yeah. Well, I want to see if you have questions, audience.
So when you go to Texas, will you be bringing your own horse as well, or do you just train on the horses that are donated to TC?
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot. We use the university's horses. You can bring your horse, but typically people don't. You just use the horses that they provide.
And are the facilities pretty developed at TCU?
Yeah, so TCU's barn is about 15 minutes from their campus, and yeah, they leased it out recently, so it's a newer facility for them.
Yeah. Wow. Mom, Dad, do you have anything to say?
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
It was to me, it was just super clear that it was God's path for you to ride and, yeah, compete in college.
Estelle, how many athletes are on the team at TCU? How many are on that roster?
It depends on the team. I think TCU's around 40, but it can be like from 35 to 65. Like, it depends on the school.
In the picture where you were putting the inner tube around the horse's neck, it looked like a tarp over the horse. What was the purpose for that?
That was just to show how like quiet he is and how nothing scares him. It just, how nothing scares him and how bomb-proof he is and just how good of a mind he has because he's so quiet.
What do you see after college? How do you plan to continue your horsemanship?
I for sure want to have horses when I'm older. I'm so excited to have my own horses. I don't know if I'll continue showing. I'll just follow the path and see what God brings me to. But I know I'll always want horses.
This is really fun to learn about because I didn't grow up with horses. So one thing that I've heard, though, for about the last 30 years is that horses have kind of the ability to help people heal. I've seen leadership classes for corporate executives to go to a ranch for a week and you learn about being a better leader and people with addictions. So do you know a little bit about this and what could you share with us? Because I just don't know anything about it and I'm curious.
Horses know what you're feeling and if you're scared, if you're nervous, and especially for me, like if I'm feeling nervous or if I'm feeling worried or like overwhelmed, as soon as I get to the barn, say hi to Rocky, I just instantly am calmed. They definitely have a calming sense and have a calming power about them.
Do you prefer English or Western showing?
Oh, that's a hard one. With Steve, since he's my show horse, I think I prefer Western just because that's what he was bred for, so that's what he's better at.
And what's the difference?
English is a smaller, compact saddle. It's what you see people in the Olympics use when they're jumping and for dressage. Western is the bigger, more like cowboy typical saddle that you'll see barrel racers use, and that you'll see barrel racers and like cutting, cow horse, roping, all that fun stuff.
Do you have any idea of what you want to study at TCU?
I think I'm going to start with majoring in biology because I would love to be an equine vet, but we'll see how that goes. So, yeah.
Well, this has been terrific, and it's so nice to learn a little bit more about you. And I know that we all wish you well, and that God continues to bless you. And thank you for being a part of Trinity and sharing your faith story and your passion for horses, Estelle.
Thank you.